And very quickly, we'll get the red lights on. For 15 minutes of racing, we've had a win for Paul Clark. We've had a win for Martin West. Who is going to win race number 3? Of course, it's West starting at the front. It's Clark starting at the back this time, but from the outside of the front row, it's Dan Garrett that makes the best of the starts this time, and he gets into the lead of the race on the run down towards Clervaux Corner. Then it's Martin West. Then it's Jeff Peake in third position as they turn their way through Clervaux. Look, Paul Clark's already up loads of places from the very back of the grid. He's made up about 10 positions already. A remarkable start from little Clarky, who also races a Clio as well on occasion, but he's already halfway up the order. It's a great start from Clark.
Oh, that's absolutely astonishing, isn't it? I mean, he's featured in Locost for several seasons now and got a lot of experience under his belt, and he's used it to great effect there. Look, he's already coming up the inside there of the 21 machine of Kevin Straw that started in 12th position. So that's a cracking first few corners there for Paul Clark, and a man on a mission, it must be said. Victory in the first race yesterday, but real disappointment. One of 10 DNFers or did not finishers or non-starters even in the race earlier today. And yeah, looking to make up for it. It is Daniel Garrett, meanwhile, who is leading Martin West. They have had some good battles throughout the course of the day, not least in the earlier race for the lead. And Martin West settling in behind for now. Paul Clark now ahead of the blue machine. Try and count where it was actually come out.
He's ninth at the moment.
He could win this race.
Don't bet against that, Chris. Do not bet against that. It's a remarkable. He's going to be 8th now. He's heading past the number 57 car as they make their way towards us now. That's Daniel Russell, of course. And they are making their way towards Clervaux Corner for the second time of what is probably going to be a 9-lap race.
Oh, one car through the gravel by the looks of it, and that might have been the car ahead of Paul Clark, the number 52 of Alan Harmon, because there was a bit of a gap between those two cars. And now Paul Clark right on the back of that number 52 machine, heading down towards Tower Bend, side by side in front of them as well. Clark's already cleared that car, side by side between the 13 of Jack Linus and the 8 of Sean Brame. That's for 5th position. Linus going ahead. Paul Clark makes his move on Alan Harmon as well and up into 7th position. So the only concern really for Paul Clark was that he was 4.2 seconds behind at the end of the first lap.
But he's trying to narrow that gap as quickly as he possibly can. He's with Sean Brame now, who's got Jack Linus ahead of him as well. So Linus has got ahead of Brame on this lap. So this is for 5th, 6th. Clark is 7th, and Alan Harmon now in 8th position. But as you say, it's that 4.2 seconds that he was behind at the start of the lap that could cost him. And of course, it's getting more and more difficult to pass more experienced drivers. Sean Brame, he's been racing in Locost for a very long time. He tries to go alongside him. He's around the outside of him, and Brame is discombobulated that by then. In fact, he's got his hand in the air now, so possibly he's got a problem. But Clark makes for another place now. So Jack Linus is his next target of the number 13 car. Jack, the highest placed returning driver from last season's championship, as Sean Brame now pulls off into the back of the paddock with a problem. So end of lap 2, it's Daniel Garrett leading, Martin West in second place. West doing the best lap of the race of 1:40.213. And it's Pete, Goff, Linus and Clark in 6th. No, it's not. It's Clark in 5th.
Yeah, so the good news for Clark is that he's still 4.2 seconds back.
Yeah.
And he's now in clean air, and the only cars in front of him now are the leading pack. So Paul Clark can bang in a few quick laps here and get onto the back of that, especially if the top 4 starts squabbling, which it looks like they are, because it was side by side for the lead, it looked like there, maybe with Westy trying to get ahead. Oh, he wasn't quite able to do so, and Jeff Peake having to go defensive against Angus Goff, the former motorcycle racer, and Paul Clark will be reeling in these cars. So we've kind of broken up into two little groups of 2 here, but it is still Daniel Garrett leading, Martin West 2nd, Jeff Peake 3rd, Angus Goff 4th, and Paul Clark now in 5th place ahead of Jack Linus. I mean, what a brilliant drive it would be if Paul Clark even just makes it onto the podium.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic effort, especially the way he just carved through the field on the first lap in particular. Knife through butter doesn't do it justice, does it? Anyway, lead is heading into the complex for the third time here. You're watching the second pair, really. Jeff Peak, 29, Angus Goff, 17. Jeff Peak, experienced of Croft fan and aficionado, the man from Hawley, a training consultant, been racing for a decade or so now as Jeff Peak on and off. And he is doing battle with the less experienced in cars, Angus Goff, and trying to chase after the top two. But they've both got Paul Clark bearing down on them. And Clark's in the best lap of the race. No surprise there. A 1:40.066, which is faster than Martin West went in the earlier race.
Yeah, a new lap record. Again, for the third time this weekend, a new lap record from two different drivers. Paul Clark broke it in yesterday's race. Martin West broke it again earlier. Now Paul Clark's taking it back.
And he closed a second on Goff, but only 3/10 on the leader, if you like, on that lap. But we'll give it another lap with Goff and Peak. And I say actually Goff and Peak, but it's actually just Goff now because Peak's broken away a little bit. He's actually closer to the leaders than he is to the fourth place man as they head through Tower that time. There is the 31 car, I think that is, which is Glyn Griffiths, the orange machine. I think he was one of the non-finishers in the earlier race, but so good to see him back out again this time. And he is doing battle with the 41 car, which is Keith Malpas, who shares the car with his wife Jeanette, and they've got a new colour scheme for this season. And it's good to see both Keith and his wife both racing this season. They've had one or two health issues to overcome, but good to see them out there and enjoying their low-cost racing as they have done for some time. But chasing here after that 31 car, which is Glyn Griffiths. This is around about 15th, 16th position or something like that.
Yeah, and a few squabbles happening a little bit further down the order as well. That looks to be Glyn Griffiths making his way down. Here are the leaders, taking off another lap. Paul Clark onto the back of the lead has changed hands. It was Martin West who was first across the line, but Dan Garrett is about to take it straight back again, going into Clairvaux. Paul Clark again doing the fastest lap of the race, another lap record, into the 39s now.
And a long way into it as well. It's pretty much 39.5. So
amazing.
Great dice. And it is now genuinely 3 for the lead as well. But it's soon going to be fourth lead because Clark is he up to fourth?
Yes, he is. So he's going to work about closing down that gap. Jet Peak has joined the leading contenders, and we've probably will have side by side again into Tower. Not quite. Martin West not quite able to draw alongside, or maybe not choosing to draw alongside. Again, we talk about these races are very tactical because the slipstream is so powerful, and it is all about showing your hand at exactly the right time. But I will not be surprised if very soon we have 4 fighting for the lead. Martin West showing to the outside. His bodywork just come a little loose there, unless it was a trick of the camera.
It looks a little bit like it.
It looked like it just sort of popped up, didn't it?
Anyway, it is 4 for the lead now because Paul Clark is with them. It was 2.4 seconds behind the leader at the start of the lap. He had to get past Angus Goff. He did that fairly quickly. And now he is with Jeff Peak, Dan Garrett and Martin West, the 3 leaders. Garrett is now at the head of the field. But from the back of the field, Paul Clark, with still nearly half of the race to go, is in contention for a win.
Absolutely he is. What an astonishing first few laps for Paul Clark. And, depending on what happens at the end of this, this could be a contender for Alpha Live Race of the Week. But we won't speak too soon. Dan Garrett confirmed on the timing screen back up at the front of the field, leading by 0.6 of a second. It's actually Jeff Peak who's the closest to anyone out of all this. Paul Clark, another fastest lap. He's knocked off an entire second almost. 39.1. Where on earth is this pace coming from?
If I didn't know better, I thought I'd just put the Mazda running gear in rather than the Ford Crossflow. He's taken so much time out of it. And now he's chasing after the top 3. He's going to get alongside Jeff Peak as they go down towards Tower Bend. He's going for a podium position now. It's Garrett leading, West second, but who's going to be third coming out of Tower Corner? It's Clark trying to go around the outside of Jeff Peak. He's clinging on. He's over the curb on the exit of the corner. They're still side by side as they head towards the Jim Clark S's. One of them has got to make a decisive move. Who's it going to be? And it's Clark who goes third.
Sensational stuff, outside, inside, great stuff. And again, Martin West, there is definitely something moving on the front of his car. Every time he pops out of the slipstream, the change in air pressure seems to dislodge something at the front of his car. It's the third time I've seen it.
And our brake isn't what you want in low-cost racing. It's not going to do you any good at all.
Oh, he's got a bit of front DRS on there, maybe. But look, he's closing out now to Dan Garrett on the way into the complex. And Garrett has a big swapper in the middle of the complex, but there's no way through there for Martin West, as they all just bunch up once again. 5 minutes to go, 4 for the lead in this race. We'll get how close they are together when they come over the timing line. A few different lines, and it looked like Martin West just lit up those rear tyres on the exit of the hairpin. Is that going to give Paul Clark potentially a run at second place?
Well, no, he's lost out. He's lost out to Jeff Peake.
Wow.
Jeff Peake's got back through on the exit of the hairpin there, and Clark all of a sudden dropped back a few car lengths. So has he now hit problems? He's falling back into the clutches of Angus Goff.
He's fallen. He's got a problem.
The fairy tale is over. There is no Cinderella moment because Paul Clark, his hand is in the air, and that is absolutely gutting. It's good for Paul Clark. It's quite gutting for us because we were so enjoying his performance from the back of the grid. He's dropping down the order now. That is the biggest shame of the weekend, I would say.
I haven't been this upset since the end of Saturday Night Takeaway. What a shame.
That says a lot about your life, Chris. Anyway, and we've got the leaders still heading off up to Sunny, and they're still going at it, of course. We've got Garrett and West. And West, yeah, there we go, that front body work just lifting up. As you say, it's like it's on a... He's pressing a button on the dashboard to control it, isn't it? But it's just the way the air's getting underneath it, I think. Garrett holding on then from West, and now Jeff Peake in third place.
Well, we've still got to... Yeah, there's Paul Clark pulling over to the side there. Oh, what a disappointment, but we've still got two cars fighting for the lead as we did in the earlier race. Dan Garrett has finished second in the two races so far, and he joked in his post-race interview with Tom earlier that he let Paul have it in race one, and he let Martin have it in race two so that he could take it in race three. Well, so far he has led most of this race. Paul Clark into the pit lane. Oh, gets sadder every time we see it happen. But now having to go a little defensive into Clairvaux against Martin West. There was Dan Garrett. But 3 minutes left on the clock. 3/10 separate the top two. Jeff Peake waiting in the wings to see if he can take advantage of this. I do hope Tom asks what is going on with the front end of Martin West's car in the pit lane afterwards, because I'd love to know. Oh, more dramas here. The 66 is pulled over. That's Luke Stokes. So we've lost two from this race now by the looks of it. Still some way to go to match the 10 that didn't make the checkered flag in quite quick succession. It all seemed to happen at the end of the race as Martin West almost pushing Dan Garrett through Tower Bend, acknowledging the yellow flag there on the exit of the corner, perhaps because his hand was up in the air. Yeah, we've got yellow flags at the Jim Clark S's, so that's maybe where Stokes' car has been parked up, but now we've got green flag running once again, and he was just drawing a little bit of an overlap through Barcroft, but no way through by the time they get to Sunny Inn.
So 19 Daniel Garrett, 94 Martin West, 29 Jeff Peake is the order. This is the penultimate lap of the race, and West is going to attack now into the complex. He's going to be on the outside line for the first left-hand element. Victor's back in behind, but Garrett goes a bit wide there, and I think West has sold him the dummy, and West has gone through to take the lead with just over a lap to go. It's Garrett down to second, and Jeff Peake in third. Garrett only a few inches behind the race leader now as they're going to come up to the line. He's going to have the tow as they go down to Clairvaux. They might well have the tow down to Tower as well, which, as we've seen, is a crucial place for overtaking in these races. There's the last lap board being shown to the drivers. So on to the final lap they go. It's now West leading. He's got to defend here from Garrett along the straight into Tower Corner this time. Garrett's just stuck him behind him there. Jeff Peake, of course, he'll pick up a double tow potentially down the back straight by the old pit lane towards Tower Corner. And what can he make of that, I wonder?
8/10 separating the top three when they went over the timing line to start this final lap of the race. We are heading into Tower Bend now. This could be the opportunity as Dan Garrett pulls to the outside line. He's cleared Martin West by the time they get down to the apex, gets it stopped, and to the right-hander, and Martin West down into second place. Jeff Peak going to try and take advantage of that. Pulls to the outside of the Jim Clark S's. Has he got enough momentum? No, has to settle back in behind. So it is Dan Garrett leading with half a lap to go, but Martin West has been brilliant at this part of the racetrack. To the outside at Croft. They're side by side through the right-hander. Surely he can't go all the way around the outside of Sonny. Daniel Garrett stands his ground there on the inside, but Martin West is not giving this up just yet. We're coming up to the corner where Westy took the lead a lap ago. He has to push him practically into the complex session. Jeff Peak going around the outside, but no side-by-side. A swapper there for Garrett, but it is the status quo being maintained. Still Garrett leading West, leading Peak as they head into the final corner.
Into the hairpin they go. Can anybody change the order here? It's Garrett looking a bit crossed up as he comes out of the corner. He's sideways, but West's right in behind him, and he can't do anything about it. I don't think they're going to be nose to tail over the line, and it's Garrett who's punching the air, and Garrett wins, but by less than a length from Martin West. It says 0.165 on the timing screen. I don't believe it was as much as that, really. Jeff Peak takes third place. Angus Goff is across the line in fourth position. The checkered flag has gone out. It's not shown on our TSL timing screen. It has now. So fourth place goes to Goff, fifth place to Jack Linus, sixth to Liam, seventh to Alan Harmon, eighth to Daniel Russell, and then ninth I think is going to be Lewis Ward, and 10th Kev Straw. But again, what a race. It had a great narrative, didn't it? But a bit of heartbreak as well for Paul Clark.
That's still a wonderful finish, though. Half a second separating the top three at the checkered flag. Oh, I was so worried that Daniel Garrett was going to lose the momentum right at the final time of asking and give Westy the run that he needed to beat him to the checkered flag. But luckily, Westy was kind of in the wrong place, really. He tucked up right behind Garrett and had to back out of it himself. So great stuff. And, yep, Daniel Garrett joked about letting the other two have the wins earlier on. Well, he's not the bridesmaid in this one after 2 second-place finishes. He is the bride.
He certainly is. So we've had 3 different winners from 3 low-cost races during the course of the weekend. Dan Garrett, number 19, winning that one, 9 laps completed. He finished 0.165 seconds clear of number 94, Martin West. Third place went to number 29, Jeff Peak. Fourth to number 17, Angus Goff. He's had a strong weekend. Fifth to number 13, Jack Linus. Liam, I think his best result of the weekend, with 6th in car number 5. Then Alan Harmon, 7th, number 52. 8th, number 57, Daniel Russell. 9th, number 81, Lewis Ward on his debut low-cost weekend. And Kevin Shaw, number 21, completing the top 10, ahead of Rob Sisson, Mark Rue, Dave Berry and Glyn Griffiths. Andy Perkins was 15th, ahead of Keith Malpas, Trevor Faunch, Steve Brown and Bill Ward, who made it to the end this time. Our last finisher with Luke Stokes, Paul Clark and Sean Brame are DNFs from the 22 that started that low-cost race. Brilliant, breathless stuff from the low-cost. Really enjoyed it, and I can tell you that their next championship round is going to be at Silverstone, and if there's ever a circuit that's designed for low-cost racing and slipstreaming action, it's the Silverstone National Circuit. I'm fairly sure there's been a race there where the top 9 were separated by 1 second at the end of it before now, so watch out for that in a few weeks' time at Silverstone. Cars heading down pit lane. We've got 2 races still to come here this afternoon at Croft Circuit. One more sprint race for the Alphas and all-comers, and then we'll have the Club Enduro race to round out the day. But we're going to head down to the pit lane now, going to hear the stories of that race with Tom Butterworth.
So Daniel Garrett here taking victory in race number 3 in the low-cost championship. He said he gave a victory in race 1 to Paul Clark. He said he gave a victory to Martin West in race 2. He said he was going to take victory in race 3, and that's exactly what he did. We'll just wait for him to clamber out of the car. And while we are doing that, we're going to give a massive special mention as well to Paul Clark. New lap record in that car, 22nd place to 8th place just in the first lap, and was hounding these guys. Managed to take 3rd place before, unfortunately, the car gave up on him. We'll see if we can get some info as to what exactly happened to Paul Clark. But here he is, Daniel Garrett. Did exactly what you said you were going to do.
Exactly it. I won't lie. I think that was a bit of luck. That was very difficult.
Well, I've counted another 4 or 5 changes for the lead in that one. It wasn't quite up to the same 8 that we had in the last race, but it doesn't matter to you, does it? Because you got the win.
Yeah, exactly it. Westy was very good with me because I was really struggling with second gear on the hairpin. He knew that you know, no, fair play, but that was one of the hardest races I think I've ever had.
Great stuff. Well, congratulations, Daniel. Race 3 did exactly what he said he was going to do. We'll move on to Westy. Martin West, second place today. Well, second place in that one.
Yeah, that was good fun. That was more fun than the one I won, I think. That was brilliant fun.
Did you manage to see Paul Clark in your mirror?
Oh, I did. I thought, how's he come from last to get up to 4th? That was a bit of a surprise, but I thought, 1 minute...
It's a question we're all asking.
Yeah, but then I see him come off the chicane, and then he just... Oh, he must have had trouble or something, because then he was gone again, and then it was just down to me, Dan, and I think Jeff just said he was enjoying the watch, so... No, that was good fun, that was. That was really entertaining. But Dan made a little mistake on what I didn't know was the second to last lap, so I thought, oh, I'll take my chance here. And then I come round and saw the last lap board, and I thought, I've had it. So you can't really be in the lead on the last lap unless you've got a good little gap ahead of you. But it's still a brilliant race. That was brilliant, absolutely great fun.
Great stuff, Martin. Thank you very much indeed. And that wraps up the weekend for Martin West. We're going to have a quick chat with Jeff here, Jeff Peake. So another third place there. Happy with that one?
Very happy, yeah.
Were you a bit nervous about Mr. Clark coming through?
Oh, yeah. Well, I couldn't believe it when I saw him. I thought, no, he started last. But, yeah, fair play to him. He drove very well. And he took me fair and square at the end of the straight. So, but apart from that, race was really good. It was good fun to watch these two from behind. They're just that little bit too quick for me at the moment. But, hey, not bad for an old fella.
Well, you've got plenty more to come in the season as well. Plenty of practice to get in and plenty of chances to catch up with these two.
Well, I certainly hope so. That's the plan. Yeah, onwards and see what happens at the next race.
Great stuff. Congratulations on another podium.
Thank you.
And we will actually this time move on to the Alfa Romeos and their race coming up to now.